And as she was saying, like, my drink tasted funny, I can't even walk straight, you did this so something could happen to the baby. You did this to me. You put something in my drink. I knew my drink tasted funny, and I couldn't really, I was like, Jade.
Reported U.S. Marshals arrested Taylor on 2 counts of first-degree murder in the death poisoning of his 25-year-old girlfriend, Jade Benning, and her unborn child.
I know absolutely nothing about the case. All I know is I was notified that there was a warrant. Okay. So I don't have a choice but to deal with that, okay?
Yeah, that's so.
What does it take to get away with murder in the modern age? Is it a flawless, undetectable plan? Is it the complete absence of a crime scene? Or is it something far simpler and far more arrogant? Is it the unshakable belief that you are simply too smart, too connected, too promising to ever be suspected? For the true crime unraveled family, we have to start with a massive thank you. We are constantly reading your comments here on YouTube and over on our Facebook and TikTok pages at True Crime Unraveled TV. We see every theory, every observation, and we read every single one. You are the reason we dig this deep, so please keep them coming. This is a story about 2 futures on a collision course. On one path was Jade Benning, a 25-year-old chef with a laugh that could light up a room, a talent for creating perfect desserts, and a fierce, independent spirit who had just fallen in love with the baby girl growing inside her, a daughter she had already named Ivy Blair. Her future was one of motherhood, culinary success, and the love of her tight-knit family. On the other path was Blaise Taylor, 27 years old, a former college football standout and scholar athlete, a scout for the NFL's Tennessee Titans, the son of a renowned coach. His future was one of climbing the ladder in the high-stakes world of college and professional football. A future that, in his mind, had no room for an unplanned pregnancy or the woman who carried his child. On a rainy February night in Nashville, these 2 futures did not just collide. One was deliberately, and with cold calculation, erased by the other. This isn't just a story of a poisoning. This is a forensic examination of a blueprint. A step-by-step plan for a perfect crime that was executed with precision, a plan that almost worked until the architect's own arrogance left a single, critical clue behind, a clue that would unravel everything. Let's rewind to the beginning. Jade Tristan Benning was born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas. From the age of 7, she was a burst of energy, athletic, driven. She found her passion in cheerleading, rising through the ranks to captain her high school squad. But her true love was in the kitchen. She enrolled at Brightwater Culinary School, her sights set on becoming a chef. She wasn't just dreaming, she was doing. She became the head pastry chef at a popular restaurant and even started her own catering business on the side, JTB Eatery. She was a doer, a builder. She moved to Nashville and landed the job as head chef at Ernest Bar and Hideaway. Her desserts, especially her creme brulee, became a signature draw. Her manager and friend, Lauren Weber, would later say that to know Jade was to love her. She was the glue that held her friends together. She celebrated their wins and comforted their losses. When she discovered she was pregnant in early 2023, she didn't see it as a setback. She saw it as her next great adventure. She immediately named her daughter Ivy Blair. She was all in. Now let's turn to Blaise Anthony Taylor. To the outside world, he was the golden boy. He played football at Auburn High School and was recruited to Arkansas State University, where he wasn't just a player, he was a team captain. And he wasn't just an athlete. He was a scholar. He completed both his bachelor's and master's degrees in under 4 years, earning a National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete Award. His father, Trooper Taylor, was a legend in college football coaching circles, with a career spanning decades at major programs. After college, Blaise seamlessly transitioned into the coaching and scouting world. A defensive coach at Duke University, then 4 years in the pro scouting department for the Tennessee Titans. His record was spotless, not a speeding ticket, let alone any brush with the law. He was, by all appearances, the perfect young man. This is where their paths crossed. They started seeing each other casually. No strings, no heavy commitment. And that's exactly how Blaise wanted it. But then life intervened. Jade became pregnant. When Jade told him, his response was not just clear, it was relentless. He did not want this baby. He did not want to be a father. He pressured her, making it abundantly clear that this child was an obstacle to the future he had so carefully constructed. But Jade Benning was not a woman to be pressured. She had made her decision. She was having Ivy Blair. In a move that showed her incredible strength and fairness, she gave Blaise two very clear options. He could be a father, or he could walk away entirely. She assured him she would raise their daughter on her own, and he wouldn't even have to pay child support if he formally signed away his parental rights. For most people, that would have been the end of it. A clean, if painful, break. But for Blaise Taylor, those two options were unacceptable. Walking away meant a living, breathing child in the world, a permanent connection to a woman he viewed as a complication. It was a loose end. And in the meticulously planned world of Blaise Taylor, there was no room for loose ends. So, he chose a third option. A dark, permanent option. After weeks of minimal contact, he reached out to Jade in late February. He said he wanted to talk, to discuss the baby and their situation. Jade, ever hopeful, thought he had perhaps had a change of heart. She believed he was finally going to step up. So when he asked to come over to her apartment on Lebanon Pike on the evening of February 25th, 2023, she said yes. What happened in that apartment is the core of the mystery, but we can piece it together from the evidence and one critical phone call. They had dinner. They talked. And at some point, Blaise saw his opportunity. The indictment would later allege he put a substance into her drink. A substance she would have had no reason to ingest herself. Jade began to feel strange. Dizzy, unsteady, confused. Her world was spinning. And in a moment of sheer terror and clarity, she understood what was happening. She grabbed her phone and called her best friend, Nija Jackson. When Nija answered, Jade didn't say hello. She didn't say her name. Her voice was slurred, disoriented. And then the accusation that would echo through the investigation. She was heard saying, "You did this to me. You put something in my drink. I knew my drink tasted funny." She was speaking directly to Blaise Taylor. Blaise, realizing what was happening, took the phone and told Nija that Jade was just having a reaction to something. He then hung up and made his next calculated move. He called 911. But he didn't say his girlfriend was disoriented and accusing him of poisoning. No, he told the operator that Jade was having an allergic reaction. He was laying the groundwork. He was creating a medical alibi. When paramedics arrived, Jade was barely conscious. They rushed her to Vanderbilt University Medical Center. Blaise followed in his own car. He was playing the part of the concerned partner. But back at the apartment, the crime scene was already telling a different story. When Nashville Metro Police detectives eventually processed the scene, they found something deeply unsettling. The apartment was too clean, too orderly. For a home where someone had just suffered a sudden, catastrophic medical emergency, it was tidy. There were 2 dinner plates, clear evidence of a meal for 2. But there was only 1 drinking glass. 1 glass, with alcohol in it. Jade was 5 months pregnant. She wouldn't have been drinking alcohol. So where was her glass? The glass for her water? Her juice? It was gone. Someone had removed it. Someone had cleaned up. This was the first, and perhaps most critical, failure in Blaise Taylor's blueprint. The cleanup. It showed a consciousness of guilt. It showed that after the paramedics left, someone's first thought wasn't panic or grief. It was evidence removal. It was the act of a man who was still following his plan, tidying up the loose ends. At the hospital, the nightmare continued. Jade was admitted to the ICU in critical condition. Her family and friends gathered, hoping for a miracle. But the poison had done its devastating work. 2 days later, on February 27th, Jade's unborn daughter, Ivy Blair, could no longer fight. She passed away, still inside the mother who loved her so fiercely. Jade Benning, however, was a fighter. She held on for another week. And on March 6th, 2023, what should have been her 25th birthday, surrounded by the people who loved her, Jade Benning died. The case was now a double homicide. And where was Blaise Taylor during this agonizing week? He was at the hospital initially, but separated from Jade's family. And then, with a speed the detectives found deeply suspicious, he left. Within days of Jade's passing, he packed his life in Nashville and moved to Logan, Utah, where he took a new job working with a former coach at Utah State University. He was putting physical distance between himself and the tragedy. He was closing the Nashville chapter, seemingly for good. Without enough evidence for an immediate arrest warrant, detectives could only watch as he left their jurisdiction. They began the painstaking work of building their case. The medical examiner's report would later reveal a significant amount of a foreign substance in Jade's system, an amount the examiner believed was inconsistent with accidental ingestion. They had the motive, Blaise's repeated, documented desire to not have the child. They had the opportunity. He was the only one with her that night. They had the behavioral evidence, the missing glass, the cleanup, the sudden move to Utah. They also had another lie. Blaise had called his mother, but he hadn't told her the truth. He told her that Jade had COVID. Why tell such a specific, yet easily disprovable, lie to his own mother? Was it to control the narrative within his own family? To avoid the difficult questions? To maintain his image as the golden boy who was just unlucky? This lie would later become a key point for prosecutors, illustrating a pattern of deception aimed at covering his tracks. For over a year, the investigation continued. A grand jury was convened in Nashville. Prosecutors presented their case. The phone call, the missing glass, the toxicology report, the motive, the lies, the flight to Utah. It was enough. In March 2024, the grand jury returned an indictment, charging Blaise Taylor with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of Jade Benning and Ivy Blair. By this time, Blaise had moved on again, following his father to Texas A&M University, where he was working as a defensive analyst. His life was moving forward, as if the events in Nashville were just a distant, bad memory. On March 14, 2024, U.S. Marshals tracked him to a Walmart parking lot in Logan, Utah. He was sitting in a red car with an unidentified woman. The body cam footage is telling. He seemed shocked. He was arrested and extradited back to Nashville to face justice. His first court appearance was in April 2024. The defense argued he was a young man with no criminal history and a promising career. His mother took the stand, testifying to his good character, stating he never even had a traffic ticket. More than a dozen family members and supporters were there for him. But on the other side of the courtroom was the testimony of Jade's best friend, Nyjah Jackson, who, through tears, recounted the chilling phone call she received, the slurred accusations that would never be answered. The prosecution argued this was premeditated murder in its coldest form. It wasn't a crime of passion, it was a planned execution. The judge agreed the evidence was severe enough to set a bond at $2.5 million. In late April, Blaise Taylor posted 10%, that is $250,000, and walked out of jail, required to wear a GPS monitor and remain in Nashville awaiting a trial set for late 2025. The district attorney has made it clear they will be seeking life in prison without the possibility of parole. So, we return to our original question. What does it take to get away with murder? Blaise Taylor had the intelligence. He had the plan. He created a medical alibi. He cleaned the crime scene. He lied to his family. He moved to another state. He almost pulled it off. But he underestimated one thing, the indelible mark a life like Jade Benning's leaves on the world. He underestimated the loyalty of a best friend who would never forget a panicked, accusatory phone call. He underestimated the diligence of detectives who saw through a too-clean apartment. He underestimated the power of a mother's love, a love so strong that even from beyond the grave, it demanded justice for her and her daughter. He thought he was erasing a problem. Instead, he created a legacy of grief and a case study in how a seemingly perfect crime can be unraveled by the smallest threads of truth. Now, we turn it over to you, the True Crime Unraveled community. This case is filled with difficult questions. Do you believe the evidence of the cleanup and the subsequent moves point to a level of premeditation that is exceptionally cold-blooded? Why do you think he maintained some level of contact with Jade before that final night, only to then carry out this plan? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. If this deep dive into the calculated destruction of 2 lives has held your attention, if you appreciate this level of detailed storytelling, please show your support by giving this video a thumbs up. It genuinely helps our channel grow and allows us to bring you more content like this. To make sure you don't miss our next investigation, subscribe to True Crime Unraveled on YouTube and hit that notification bell. For our community on Facebook and TikTok, you can find us at True Crime Unraveled TV. Thank you for watching and for being a part of this journey toward unraveling the truth.
There.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you doing?
Good.
Can I ask your name?
Blaise.
Blaise, I need you to step out of the car for me, okay? What's your last name?
Taylor.
Put your hands behind your back for me, okay?
What's wrong?
You got a warrant out of Tennessee for homicide. I'm going to tell you straight up, dude. You're going this way.
All right.
I know absolutely nothing about the case. All I know is I was notified that there was a warrant.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't have a choice but to deal with that, okay?
A former Arkansas State University football player was arrested in Utah in connection with the 2023 fatal poisoning of his girlfriend and her 5-month-old fetus. 27-year-old Blaise Taylor now faces 2 counts of first-degree murder. Taylor was a defensive back for the Red Wolves from 2014 to 2017. Maddie Sexton joins us live from outside Centennial Bank Stadium with more. Maddie.
Yeah, hey Diana. Police in Nashville, Tennessee reported U.S. Marshals arrested Taylor on 2 counts of first-degree murder in the death poisoning of his 25-year-old girlfriend, Jade Benning, and her unborn child. And it is believed that Taylor was the baby's father. According to a news release from the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department, on her 25th birthday, Jade Benning died at Vanderbilt University Medical Center on March 6, 2023. But everything started on the night of February 25th, about a week before her death. It states Benning was rushed to the hospital by ambulance after Blaise Taylor called 911 around 9:40 that night. Taylor told the operator his girlfriend appeared to be having an allergic reaction and asked for paramedics. Upon arrival at the hospital, Benning's medical condition immediately became critical as she was also 5 months pregnant. Benning's unborn child died 2 days later, on February 27, 2023. She was not able to be interviewed by police before she died. Months of investigation involving scientists from crime laboratories and doctors from the medical examiner's office led to Wednesday's return of the murder indictment against Taylor. According to the indictment, Taylor poisoned Benning without her knowledge while he was visiting her Nashville apartment on the night of February 25th. Taylor had been working in Nashville for the Tennessee Titans in the pro scouting department. The release states Taylor moved to Utah after the deaths. He worked for Utah State as a senior defensive analyst for the 2023 football season. His information is no longer on the university's website. U.S. Marshals PIO Mark Thompson said it was a routine arrest. They pulled him over in a red vehicle around 5:15 p.m. yesterday in Logan, Utah. Nashville police will be working with Utah authorities to arrange Taylor's return to Nashville. The extradition will likely take a few weeks. Live in Jonesboro, Maddie Sexton, K8 News.
Continuing Operation Crime and Justice, the former Tennessee Titans scout accused of poisoning and killing his pregnant girlfriend making his first appearance in court today. Police in Utah arresting 27-year-old Blaise Taylor last month. He faces 2 murder charges after police say that he poisoned his girlfriend, Jade Benning, and their unborn child. The district attorney's office says it is pursuing life in prison without the possibility of parole.
And her head was like tilted to the side.
An emotional Nigella Jackson faced the courtroom Thursday, remembering her lifelong best friend, Jade Benning.
And as I'm like talking to her, she was not necessarily responding back to me.
As new details come out in the case of Blaise Taylor, the man arrested in connection with the deaths of Jade and their unborn child.
And as she was saying, like, my drink tasted funny, I can't even walk straight, you did this so something could happen to the baby.
The night in February Jade went to the hospital, her best friend told the judge she got a phone call and overheard Jade and Blaise in conversation.
She started to say, you did this to me. You put something in my drink. I knew my drink tasted funny, and I was like, Jade. She stopped responding.
Police say Blaise later called 911 and said she was having an allergic reaction. Her unborn baby died right away. Jade died days later.
Your Honor, what we heard today was that Mr. Taylor called 911.
During Thursday's bond hearing, the defense claimed there's not enough evidence to convict Blaise.
Your Honor, we're just asking that you set a reasonable bond. Let Mr. Taylor fight this case.
Though the state...
Mr. Taylor's actions that day are unlike any other case that we have ever had in Davidson County.
And homicide detective Adam Reese...
It appeared there had been some cleanup done.
...say this was premeditated murder.
It's not a spur-of-the-moment type of thing to put drugs in someone's beverage.
And that Blaise may not have let his family know how serious Jade's condition was in the hospital.
When he calls his mother to tell her this information, the only information he gives her is that Jade Benning has COVID.
But Blaise's mother, along with over a dozen on the left side of the courtroom, stood up for her son.
He has not had any legal problems, no arrests.
As everyone now waits for more answers come May. Nikki Hauser, News Channel 5.